This is the Strat-O-Matic Baseball Excel 1970-73 Carryover League. Brought to you by the Shrimp Trawler YouTube channel. The World Series. The Oakland Athletics versus the Cincinnati Reds. Game 7.
Welcome back, baseball fans, to game number 7 of the 1970-73 World Series from Riverfront Stadium in Cincinnati. I guess I owe it to you all to do a review of what has taken place through games 1 through 6. Deep breath. Game number 1, which was like a month ago or 2 months ago, I can't remember. Vita Blue versus Don Gullett, scheduled for games 1 and 4 and 7 if necessary. In game 1, the A's score first when Campanera steals a base off the bench, scores on a sac fly. Reds come back and tie it. RBI single, Helms scoring Concepcion. Reds add to the lead. 2-run homer Johnny Bench. It's 4-2. A's come back and tie it. 4-4 with a 2-run, or take the lead. 4-3 with a 2-run homer by Jackson. Reds come back and tie it. Sac fly Lee May. Stays that way into the 8th when Gullett, in the 7th inning, after a walk and a couple ground balls, gives up a single to Gene Tennis, and it's 5-4. Bourbon finishes the game for the Reds, and nothing happens. Blue pitches through to the 9th inning. In the 9th inning, however, we get 2 quick outs. We get a pinch hit double by Bernie Carbo. 2 quick outs. Carbo still at second. Tony Perez singles, and the ball goes to center field. Angel Mangual and his -1 arm guns down Bernie Carbo at the plate. To end game 1, Oakland wins 5-4 with the runner being thrown out of the plate in the bottom of the 9th inning. Vita Blue gets a complete game because of that. And the score is Oakland with 5 runs, the Reds with 4 runs. Write that down somewhere, fans. It would become important. Game number 2. Can the Reds even this thing up? It'll be Catfish Hunter for the A's. Dick Bosman, having a checkered season, but acquired for these kind of moments, for postseason moments. In the 4th inning, it's a Tony Perez homer, 1-0. Dick Bosman scatters 7 singles through 6 frames, but in the 7th, it gets touched up for a double, single, and a double, and they go to the bullpen. They go to Jim Strickland and Wayne Granger. The A's can only tie it at 1. Bottom of the 7th, it is a Bernie Carbo 2-run homer. 3-1 game. Then, in the bottom of the 8th, the Reds load the bases with 2 outs. Johnny Bench finally gets the death blow. A grand slam with 2 outs in the 8th inning off of Catfish Hunter, and suddenly it's inconsequential. It's 7-1 Cincinnati. Carroll comes on to finish the 9th inning, doesn't get a save because of the big lead. The series is tied, a game apiece. Then we would go to game number 3. Fly to Oakland, the Bay Area. It'll be Gary Nolan on the road for the Reds against Kenny Holtzman, the 3rd wheel of the Oakland rotation. Early on, Ted Savage, an import brought in from the Brewers, solo homer for the Reds. But then you have a triple by Bando and a single by Reggie. We're tied at 1. Jim French, the Oakland catcher, has a series of miscues here. An error, a ball thrown into center field, and an RBI single by Kenny Suarez. Another former Texas Ranger player signed as a free agent. The Reds getting weird runs. 2 runs by extra players. 2-1. Stays that way the whole way. All the way. Gary and Nolan Normally you would think Sparky Anderson would throw his hands into the fire here with his bullpen. But I don't do it that way. I like Gary Nolan in this. He 3 up and 3 down in the 7th, 3 up and 3 down in the 8th. In the 9th inning after an out, tennis doubles. I leave Gary Nolan in. He gets Rudy and Hegan out while Clay Carroll waits in the bullpen. Gary Nolan, 2-1 win for the Reds. Complete game, outdueling Kenny Holtzman, who is still yet to throw a complete game for the Oakland A's this year. Game number 4. Back to Gullet. Vita Blue, Part 2. Early on, the Reds with the momentum of winning the last 2 games. A walk, a stolen base by Tolan. Another Tony Perez homer. An RBI triple by that Ted Savage guy. And it's 3 runs for the Reds. Stays this way until the 7th. When Don Gullet, again, he's been running out of gas in the 7th inning against Blue. But here, he strikes out a batter. A 2-base error off Bob Tolan. A single to Mike Hegan. And Sparky Anderson says, I'm going to my bullpen. Oh boy. And that's where Pedro Bourboin and Jim Strickland and Clay Carroll would fail the Reds. As the A's get a couple singles and cut the lead to 3-2. Reds add a run in the 8th on a sac fly by Ted Savage. It's a 4-2 game. We go to the bottom of the 9th, and Clay Carroll is brought in to save a 4-2 victory. Not as good against lefties as he is against righties. So, in the bottom of the 9th, it's Von Joshua, a lefty, a .261 hitting lefty, who singles. Then .211, Jim French, singles. Then .245 hitting John Donaldson, triples to tie the game. After Campanera strikeouts, Sal Bando singles in the winning run, all off of Clay Carroll. If you're going to lose Cincinnati, lose to Bando and Campaneris and Reggie Jackson and Gene Tennis and Joe Rudy and Mike Hegan. Do not lose to the Von Joshuas, Jim Frenches, and John Donaldsons of the world. My goodness, Cincinnati. A colossal failure. Can the Reds recover from botching the World Series by blowing Game 4? Let's see what happens in Game 5 as the series is tied at 2 apiece. It is a murder scene of a box score. When you play games in no extra innings, you turn around and there you go. So, early on we talked about momentum. Oakland had it. Cincinnati had it, then Oakland got it. Oakland, they get 3 runs in the first. A triple by Joe Rudy and a single by Hegan. It's 3-zip. But in the 4th inning, it was all off of Ross Grimsley, the number 4 starter for the Reds, against Cal Kuntz, the number 4 starter for Boston. I don't have time to talk about Cal Kuntz, just what he did. 3 shutout innings, then Kuntz gives up a single, a walk, a single, and a 3-run homer to Tommy Helms. It's 4-3. And Oakland goes, well, you know what? We haven't used our bullpen all series. Let's go to the bullpen in the 4th inning. This game's only going 9 innings, right? And it would be costly. Well, not immediately costly. Bob Locker comes in this game, down 4-3. Bob Locker throws 5 shutout innings, giving up 3 hits, a walk, and a K, but his series is over after exhausting his innings. So he's done with those 5 incredible innings in this game. The A's get a 4th run in the 5th inning off of the starter Grimsley as John Donaldson, only in the game because Sal Bando got hurt, RBI single scoring Campaneris. This is a 4-4 game that goes into extra innings, and here are the lines. Bob Locker pitched from the 4th to the 8th inning. 5 innings, 3 hits, a walk, and a K. And then Raleigh Fingers, he comes in for 5 innings. 3 hits, a walk, and 5 Ks. Then Ron Taylor comes in for 3 innings. 6 hits, a walk, and a K. And then Rick Austin comes in to pitch the top of the 17th inning, giving up a hit. The Oakland bullpen, no runs on 14 hits. I did just say that, right? Yeah. It's actually 13, sorry. No runs on 13 hits by Cincinnati in those 14 innings. Meanwhile, on the other side of the bullpens, Wayne Granger, inning and 2/3 shutout. Jim Strickland, an inning shutout. Clay Carroll, you remember him, how he botched Game 4? 2 1/3 shutout innings for Clay Carroll. Then Pedro Borbon asked for 5 shutout innings. Pitches 4 1/3 shutout innings. And at the bottom of the 17th, Tony Perez, who went 0 for 8 and stranded 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, stranded 7 Cincinnati players on the bases, going 0 for 8, makes an error, and a bloop single by Joe Rudy. That's your ball game. Reggie Jackson, by the way, went from first to third off of the total arm of -2 to enable that run to score. And once again, Oakland now has won all their games by a score of 5-4. 5-4, 5-4, and 5-4. Which brings us back to Riverfront for game number 6. Bullpens are toast. It's Catfish Hunter and Rick Alston, the only available pitchers for Oakland. Dick Bosman, Wayne Granger, and Strickler, and Jim Strickland, the only available pitchers for the Reds. And of course, all those guys would pitch in this game. Top of the 4th, we have a walk, a triple, and a single. Oakland gets 2 runs. Bottom of the 4th inning, a couple walks, a bench double, a ground out. It's 2-2. A's, sac fly by Hegan. It's 3-2 A's. Bottom of the inning, 2-run homer by Lee May. 4-3 Reds. And the Reds are going to win the game. Or are they? 8th inning. Bosman gives up a walk, and then they say, well, you know, Sparky Anderson, I got to go to the bullpen here. I got 2 guys left. Might as well use them. Jim Strickland and Wayne Granger. Well, yeah, Strickland give up 2 hits and 3 runs and a walk. Wayne Granger comes in to face Bert Campaneris. Campaneris rolls triple 1-2 on the Granger card. Gets it. The 10% chance. The triple 1-2 to give Oakland a 7-4 lead with 6 outs to get to win the World Series. To win the World Series, you need 6 more outs. And you have Catfish Hunter on the mound. But here come the Reds. Pete Rose single. Tony Perez double. Bench, a ground ball out, makes it 7-5. And Lee May gets a single to put runners in the corners. And that breaks Catfish Hunter. He is busted, so they have to go to Rick Alston. So what does Rick Alston do? He gets a ground ball short X. And Campaneris can't make a play. It's a single. Then off of the Alston card, a K. Then off the Alston card, a fly to left. In the 9th inning, off the Alston card, a K. They keep rolling on this awful pitcher's card and keep getting out, except when they hit it to Campaneris. Tolan gets a single. Then a ground ball to Campaneris. Another single off of Campaneris. They have 2 runners on. Then with 2 runners on and 1 out, a ground ball to Campaneris. He makes an error. Bert Campaneris gives up a single because of his bad defense, a single because of his bad defense, and an error because of his bad defense. And then Johnny Bench walks off Game 6 with a 3-run homer. And that's how the A's choke away. The Oakland A's choke away Game 6 after the Reds choke away Games 5 and Games 4. I have no clue of who. I guess the Reds have momentum, right? Yeah, the Reds have momentum because of what just happened there. But this is the craziest, wildest, kookiest World Series. Role players, star players failing, strange defense, tons of home runs, and completely entertaining. I'm going to take a quick break, get some water, and then we will begin Game 7. After this break, we'll be right back. All right, baseball fans, here we are. It is Vida Blue in Game 7, and it's going to be Gary Nolan getting the start over Gullett, as Gullett has a better edge at coming in out of the bullpen as a lefty reliever. This is your availability. So we'll start with the Reds. There's no Ross Grimsley. There's no Dick Bosman. Bourbon, Strickland, and Granger for an inning. Gullick can pitch as long as he wants, as can Clay Carroll. For the A's, making his third start, has 2 complete games. Vida Blue. No Rick Alston. No Catfish Hunter. No Bob Locker. Ron Taylor can pitch an inning. Raleigh Fingers can close out a game with an inning. Ken Holtzman can pitch as long as he wants, and Cal Kuntz can. Kenny Holtzman would be an excellent closer as a lefty closer for the A's in this game. Let's get started. Leading off, it'll be Bert Campaneris for the A's, and the pitch. 48 is single 1 of 16, a base hit off the Nolan card. In Game 1, Campaneris took a chance off the minus form of bench. Is going to do it again in Game 7. He steals on a 5. Campaneris, he was the GOAT. In both ways that expression is used in Game 6, with a 2-run triple in the top of the 8th, and then 3 fielding miscues in the bottom parts of that 8th and 9th inning. Sal Bando. 6'10", bouncer to third X. This is Vukovic, a 1E22 third baseman, in there today because of the defense, and he makes the play. The stolen base prevents the double play from happening. Reggie Jackson, 55, second C. Campaneris is at third for Gene Tennis and 2 outs. 59 rolls to second base. Bottom of 1, Bobby Tolan. 69, skies left. Pete Rose, 47 is a walk. B Steeler being held on for Tony Perez. 48 is a K. And with 2 outs, Johnny Bench has homers in 3 games. Games 1, 2, and 6. All of those homers were huge. Pitch to Johnny Bench. 69, skies left field. Top of 2, Joe Rudy. 410, center X. Tolan is a 2 in center field. Makes the catch. Mike Hegan, 38 singles. Angel Mengual getting a start as a right-handed batter instead of Joshua, because Nolan is better against lefties. Let's see how it works for Mengual. 46, it works perfectly. Double 1 of 7 off of Nolan's card is a double. Second and third for Dick Green, B Bunner. Anfield will come up with 1 out, as every run is precious when you're facing blue. 57's a strikeout, and with 2 outs now, it's the left-hander Jim French. 66 is a pop to third. Gary Nolan gets out of it. He did it in Game 2 the same kind of way. Has a lot of patience. The Reds do with him now. Lee May leading off in the second. 66 is a K. Ted Savage. I got the wrong name here. Savage is batting 6th in left field, not Suarez. Sorry about that, folks. There we go. Ted Savage. That's not a batting out of order, by the way. That's just me writing the wrong name in there. So Ted Savage, 2-4 is a grounder to short. Concepcion, 64 off of blue is a catcher's card. French is a 3E. Is it E12? It's not good. It's an E12 catcher. And he boots the ball. He had some problems in Game 4. I don't remember. It's been so long. He made 3 errors in 1 game, and now it's his 4th error of the series. Does Concepcion try a steal with 2 outs off the French? He does. But he's thrown out on the 16. We stay scoreless. Into the third. It's Campaneris. 47 is a base hit. Does he try another steal against Bench? I think he does until bad things happen. And no, it's a steal on a 9. Good things continue to happen for Campaneris after the Game 6 conundrum. Sal Bando. 2-2. Fouls out the catcher plus injury. So, folks, we've had 2 injuries in the World Series. To Sal Bando and to Sal Bando. Last time Bando got injured this early, John Donaldson came in the game, and the game went 17 innings. I really, my throat particularly, my voice does not want to do that again. Please do not give me another 7th inning game. If we can avoid that. So Reggie, John Donaldson will come in and play third, where he's a 4. You still have the runner at second after the foul out and 1 out, and it's Reggie. 35 for Reggie's a walk. 2 on for the dangerous Gene Tennis. 38 is a walk. They are loaded, and it's a righty, Rudy, against Nolan here. Bases loaded, 1 out. The pitch to Joe Rudy. 69 is a sac fly to center B. That's a sac fly after the 2 walks. We mentioned how the A's like to get that bases loaded walk. They haven't done it in this series. Matter of fact, they only had 3 walks in that 17-inning game. So that is something that has been good for the Reds. You have first and second and 2 outs, and you have a lefty, Hegan, against Nolan here in the pitch. 2-8. Let's take a look at the Mike Hegan card, because this is a big moment here for the A's. 2-8 is single ... and that does score another run. And it is 2-0 with runners on the corners and 2 outs. And Angel Mangual is the batter. 59 rolls the second. A's get 2 runs in the third. Bottom half, it'll be Tommy Helms. 37 is a base hit to right field. Now you got John Vukovic. 56 off of blue is a K. If you're wondering about Vukovic just bunting, no, he's a D bunter as well. So Bobby Tolan. 1-8 is a 6-4-3 double play on Tolan on a plus. Tommy Helms not being held on as Helms is a D stealer as well. So not a good look for the Reds early. 2-zip in the 4th. It'll be Dick Green. 49, second X. This is Helms. 0-1 second baseman makes the play. Jim French. 2-6 gets that walk. Boy, he gets a ton of walks. Campaneris. 68 is a pop to second base. And with 2 outs, it'll be John Donaldson, a lefty, and Nolan, I said, is good against lefties. 38, Donaldson, single 1 of 4 on his card, rolls a 14 and lines out. And Nolan gets out of that one. He's put runners on every inning and gotten out of it. Just 2-zip. With Bando out of this game, by the way, a very valuable right-handed batter, that gives Gullett an edge should he come into this game, facing the likes of a Donaldson or a French, should they give something for Sparky to think about. Gullett's availability. Bottom of the 4th. You have to deal with Blue, though. He's been 3 shutout innings. It'll be Pete Rose leading off. 6-11. First X. Higgins a 2E10. And almost an error. And he makes the play. Higgins been a star with the bat and the glove today. Tony Perez. 1-3. Misses the column and flies to left. And with 2 outs, it's Johnny Bench. 1-4. Bounces to short. Vita Blue does Vita Blue things through 4 frames. We go to the 5th. It'll be Reggie leading off. 49. Short X. This is Concepcion. A 2 at short makes the play. Reds have all their defense playing today. 2s and 1s. Excellent defense for the Reds. And, put that in the wrong spot. That was Reggie. So it'll be Gene Tennis. 2-3 flies to left. And with 2 outs, Joe Rudy. 6-10, third X. This is the 1 at third base, and he makes the play. Nice start for Nolan to give up the 2 runs in the 3rd. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Let's pause a moment for station identification.
This is the Shrimp Trawler video channel.
Este es el canal de videos de camaroneros.
Bottom of the 5th for Cincinnati. It'll be Lee May leading off. 2-9, Lee May, single 1-10 against a lefty, but he rolls a 17, cannot reach off of blue. Tough break there for the Reds. Ted Savage, 47 is a walk. B. Steeler. We'll see. He'll stay put at first for now, down a couple runs. Concepcion is power. And here he's at the plate. Dave Concepcion, 2-3. Oh, no. Let's take a look at Concepcion's card. Unfortunately, rolled his column, but disaster. It is a 6-4-3 double play for Concepcion. And the game stays 2-zip. This is the best pitching performance for the A's at this point. All their wins, the Reds have lost by scoring 4 runs exactly. Today they have none. We go to the 6th of a 2-0 game, and it's Mike Hegan. 1-7 is a K. His perfect day ends. Angel Mangual, 59, rolls the second. And it's Dick Green. 2-11 pops to short. We go to the bottom of the 6th, and this is the Vida Blues story. He's had 2 complete games, giving up 4 runs to a great Cincinnati team, but now he's taking it to another level here in Game 7. 2-0 into the 6th inning. It'll be Tommy Helms leading it off. 5-10 is a K. That is number 1, 2, 3, 4 of the day. John Vukovic. 66 is another one. And with 2 outs, it's Bobby Tolan of the Bells. 5-10 is a walk. Do you try it? Do you try to steal with your double-A to possibly get a single run in this inning? I think you do against the -1 arm. You got to do it. It's the World Series. Tolan's going to attempt to steal. And he rolls a 6 and is in there, matching Campaneris. Well, he's got 1. Campy's got 2. But now you got Rose with a runner at second and 2 outs. This is Pete Rose. Let's take a look at his card of 1970. Has everything you could want back here versus his MVP card of 73. And then he has power, 15 homers. He's got range and arm and a B stealer and plenty of walks. I think his second best year after 69. So here is Pete Rose in the biggest moment yet of the Red season with 2 outs and a runner at second. The pitch to Pete Rose. 46 off of Blue is single, 1-7, and he cannot get it. He rolls an 18. So the dice gods are firmly in Oakland's corner now. We've gotten 2 outs on rolls of 1-7 in the game. It is 2-zip in a briskly moving Game 7 into the 7th inning. Gary Nolan's breaking inning. You got French, Campaneris, and Donaldson, and Reggie. I think Nolan's pitching to all those guys. Jim French. 110 is a roller to the pitcher. Campaneris. Been on 2 out of 3 times. 68 is a pop to second, and with 2 outs, it's John Donaldson. 2-7, he gets a single. And with 2 outs, it's Reggie. Now you got your choice here, folks. You could take Nolan out and go with a lefty like Gullett, Don Gullett, to get Reggie out in a huge moment here. Or you could let Gary Nolan continue, but I might want to remind you, you do have Tennis and Rudy after this for Nolan, who's not particularly good against righties. But what we're going to do is, folks, I got to think of how many outs Nolan has on his card versus Gullett here. Oh boy, I tell you. You know what? I think Reggie's got actually more hits on his card against lefties. So I'm letting Gary Nolan pitch to him. This could be another extra inning game. We could use as much starting pitching as possible. So Nolan will continue with just a single hit through 7 innings in this inning. He'll pitch to Reggie. The pitch to Reggie Jackson. 66 is a pop to third base. That was the right call. Gullett has a 6 column. So, it is stretch time in Cincinnati in Game 7, folks. We're here that quickly. After some marathons, we have briskly got into the 7th inning. We've been enjoying the Brothers Isley. Isley Brothers 69 LP. I Turned You On. My Little Girl, Get Down Off the Train. The brothers from Ohio, the Isley Brothers, getting the fans going here in the bottom of the 7th inning. Their team down by a couple to arguably the best pitcher in Strat in this timeline. Vida Blue performing in a Game 7 like you would expect the best pitcher from 71 and the MVP of 71, Vida Blue, needs 9 more outs to finish a masterpiece. But before that can happen, Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, and Lee May will bring 40, 85, 124 home runs to the plate here in the 7th inning. So here we go. Tony Perez will lead it off. 39 is a walk. And that brings up the tie run is Johnny Bench. Let's take a look at the bench card before he swings here in the 7th inning. The pitch to Johnny Bench. 2-6 misses the homers. And it's the 5-4-3 double play. Oh my goodness, folks. Oh boy, Cincinnati, we got to get Bench one more at bat today, folks. Got to get him up one more time here. 2 outs now in the 7th. And it's Lee May. 2-7 Lee May. Triple 1-7. It's a single. And now your tie run is Ted Savage. Let's take a look at the Savage card. Pretty darn good card against lefties. Was a Milwaukee Brewer. He's had a nice World Series as the DH. Now he's playing left field today. Big moment. May at first. The pitch to Ted Savage. 3-11 is a walk. No hit by pitch. 2 on, 2 outs. This is where Blue is so valuable. Puts 3 men on in the 7th inning and is not broken. He's a starter 9. And now you've got Dave Concepcion. Reached on an error by the catcher and hit into a double play in his 2 column. 2 on and 2 outs. The pitch to Dave Concepcion. 45 off of Vida Blue. Double 1-4, single dot dot. It is misses the double by 1. It's a single dot dot. Does get a run in. Puts the tie run at third with 2 outs. Also means the aforementioned Bench will get another at bat in the World Series unless his team wins it before then. So you've got runners on the corners with 2 outs. The infield. Well, you know what? You got to bring the infield up and hold because you want to hold. You want to hold Concepcion. You don't want the lead run at second base. You want to keep Concepcion as the lead run at first. So you're holding, so you're up and hold. Or holding in general. And it's Tommy Helm with runners on the corners. 4 runners have reached off of Blue in the inning. And a big moment here for Tommy Helms. Let's take a look at the Tommy Helms card. He had the big home run in Game 5 off of Kuntz. Big moment here with a tie run at third base. The pitch to Tommy Helms. 3-12 is a Lomax. It's just a line out. And it is a 1-run game. And we go to the 8th inning. Both teams have all their defense in. Oh boy, another nail-biting 1-run game. You got tennis Rudy Hegan. What do you do with Nolan? I think you just gotta let him. You gotta roll. You gotta roll with Nolan. Rolling with Nolan. That's what we came up with after Game 3. Because this game could go 16, 17 innings. Nolan can't go 10, by the way. Blue could. Nolan can only go 9. So he's going to continue on a 2-1 affair to Gene Tennis. 1-7 against you. Let's look at the card. The dangerous Gene Tennis card against righties. He's got homer 1-7 on the roll. Homer 1-7 double. It's only going to be a double, though. It's an automatic double against a lefty. Now you got Joe Rudy, and we saw a strategy like this in the ALCS. Joe Rudy's an A-bunter, folks. Let's take a look at his card. And does a 305 hitter with 19 home runs in his arguably his best year of his career, which was 1972. Does he bunt here as an 8-bunter with Hegan, Manguel, and Green up? And he will bunt and try and get an insurance run in the World Series. Joe Rudy's going to put a bunt down. Heck, he might even bunt for a single. Here's the bunt. It's at 11. It's no good. And not only that, the guy's gunned down at third base. A colossal failure on a strategic move there. Oh, horrible. And I actually detest bunting a runner from second to third, and I just did that to the Oakland A's. May have just short-circuited their World Series dynasty dreams here. as Rudy's bunt is bad. Tennis is caught at third. Rudy's at first with 1 out. And it's Mike Hegan, a lefty, with Nolan advantageously good against lefties, so he'll stick around to face Hegan. Here's the pitch. 37 is single 1 of 17 off the Hegan card. It's a base hit. By the way, folks, Hegan did hit .329 with his card. So you got first and second. And I think we're to the point now where you're getting to the trashy part of the A's lineup. So Miguel is a righty who's just barely okay against righties, and Green same way. And then you got French. You have 3 straight hitters. You've got runners at first and second with 1 out. Nolan's about to break, but still, I don't think you can go to Gullett and Carroll yet. I'm still going to go with Nolan. I'm still rolling with Nolan because I don't think Angel Miguel is very much. Let's take a look at Miguel's card, folks. Yeah, he's only in there because Nolan is so good against lefties. I didn't want to put Von Joshua in the game. So Miguel will bat with first and second and 1 out in the 8th inning and a chance to break Nolan and then get him out of there. Here's the pitch to Angel Miguel. 53 off of Nolan is a first C. Now you got second and third with 2 outs and Dick Green. And now I mean, it's really silly when you think about it. He's pretty much got less hits on his card than Miguel, who I just pitched to. He doesn't. He has a slightly more. Dick Green has less hits on his card against lefties. God, I've been pushing Nolan so darn hard in this. I think I got to do it. I got to roll with him. One more batter. Dick Green. He's not broken now. Dick Green, the big batter here. Second and third, 2 outs in the 8th inning. Chance for Dick Green to be a remote MVP choice on the most remote level here in a 2-1 game. The pitch to Dick Green. 56 off of Nolan is a strikeout. Mr. Gary Nolan has wiggled off another hook, folks. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 men put on base today. Only 2 have scored. It is 2-1. What another classic. What a classic series this has been. We go to the 8th inning. Bottom half. Vida Blue, can't break him. Still can't break him. He's a starter 9. Vukovic, then the top of the lineup. Again, all the defense is in for both squads. So John Vukovic will lead off here in the bottom of the 8th. 38, Vukovic. Let's take a look at the 166 hitting John Vukovic's card. Now you could argue, why not put a righty? Why not pull Vida Blue out, put a righty in there to get John Vukovic out? Well, you open up another can of worms. And again, he's only in there for defense anyway, and at this point they're trailing. So it's a single, and he is your tie run. He's a 10 runner. You could get kooky here and go with a 14 Carbo as a pinch runner and lose the defense. How valuable is the defense when the World Series is in the 9th inning? I got to go with the runner. I got a pinch run for this guy. I got to go Bernie Carbo. Because unless Bernie Carbo is only valuable if they get Vida Blue out of here. And Carbo could be around in the 9th inning as well as a pinch runner and bat possibly in the 9th inning if this game goes long. So Carbo is going to pinch run. Don't need him to swing against Blue. Carbo's at first base. So the Reds are going to need a third baseman at the top of the next inning. And Bobby Tolan is the batter. Now Carbo is a beast stealer, but he's not going to steal in this situation. Nobody out. Tolan rolled a plus last time against when he was up in the 3rd inning. He rolled that plus. Do it now. We got runners in the corners. So Bobby Tolan, he's also an A bunter, but he's not bunting. Plus, blue is better against righties than lefties. So Tolan likes his chances against Vida Blue with Carbo at first, with nobody out. The pitch to Bobby Tolan. 49 off of blue is a walk. And now you got speed everywhere for the Reds. Carbo 14, Tolan is 17 as the lead run in the 7th game of the World Series. You got Pete Rose, Tony Perez, Johnny Bench, and Lee May against Vida Blue. Still, like I said, he cannot break. And he would only be a breakable pitcher before the 9th if he gave up an exceptional number of base runners, like 15 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. No. He would have to... the next 4 batters would all have to reach for me to consider blue to be broken. The A's have the lead 2-1, but it's in a precarious situation. Pete Rose, down a single run to the Oakland A's in the World Series. Does Pete Rose drop a bunt down as a B stealer to set up his teammates Perez and Bench? I can't do it. I cannot do it. Not after Joe Rudy just blew it here. I cannot do it. I cannot bunt. I'm sorry. I can't do it. Rose is going to swing away. These are the Reds. They don't bunt. Pete Rose, first and second. Nobody out in the 8th inning. The pitch to Pete Rose. 37 is a fly ball to left. B question mark. And that is simply a long fly ball. A bunt would have been successful if you believe in that sort of crap. So, yeah. Now you've got Tony Perez and Johnny Bench. Have we looked at the Perez card? Let's do it now anyway. Tony Perez, your MVP of the Reds all season long. First and second with 1 out. Tie run at second. The pitch to Tony Perez. 59 off of blue is second C. Now it gets interesting. Yeah, Johnny Bench or Lee May. You have second and third. Dare you walk Bench to pitch to Lee May? That doesn't make sense either. A guy with 45 homers to pitch to a guy who had 39 home runs. That would be silly. Well, it really wouldn't be silly, but you just don't do things like that. So Johnny Bench will bat with 2 on and 2 outs and runners at second and the third in a 2-1 game. The pitch to Johnny Bench. 3-10 is a roller to short, and they do not get the run. Vida Blue has put 6 men on the last 2 innings, and he still hasn't. One more act in this. It's come to this, folks. You've been sticking around this far to arguably the best World Series I've ever been involved with. We go to the 9th inning. I got Gary Nolan still. It's Jim French, Campaneris, and Donaldson. My gosh. There's no reason to take him out. And he is not going out. He is going to continue to pitch and face Jim French, leading off in the 9th. 1-7 is a K. Bert Campaneris. He has a couple steals in this game. The pitch to Bert Campaneris. 37 is a K. And with 2 outs, it is John Donaldson in for the injured Bando. And his defense has not mattered to this point. They have not rolled a third X. The pitch to John Donaldson. 38. Donaldson is single 1-4 on his own card. Rolls a 19 and lines out. And then Gary Nolan, we can close the book on him. He does do his 9 innings. And he will put a towel over his head and sit in silence on the bench, praying for his team to give him a win. He can't go out for the 10th. It'll be Lee May, Ted Savage, and Concepcion against Vida Blue. And now, Raleigh Fingers and Ken Holtzman are warming in the bullpen for matchup purposes. What do? You've got the 1971 MVP Vida Blue in there. Why would you want to even take him out unless you had to, right? And you don't have to. In the 9th inning, Vida Blue will face Lee May, leading off. All the red defense is in. The pitch to Lee May. 2-5! Lee May, let's look at the card. It is gone. You got to be kidding me, folks. Putting me through torture are the Oakland A's and the Cincinnati Reds in an incredibly just exhausting and amazing World Series. Lee May leads off the bottom of the ninth and ties this thing at 2. You got Don Gullett and Clay Carroll getting up to pitch the bottom of the 10th if needed. You got Savage, Concepcion, and Helms in a tie game, and I think now, and then you got Carbo, and then Utoya. Now things have changed, and now Vita Blue is gone. I'm taking him out after 8 and a batter. Taking out the MVP in 1971, a starter 9, and I'm going to Raleigh Fingers because Savage and Concepcion and Helms and Vukovic and Tolan and Rose, everybody kills lefties, and it's about time that somebody stops the Reds. As you see what Blue has done, he has put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 men on in the last 12 batters. So he clearly is toast at this point as far as, you know, why you would do that. So, Raleigh Fingers. Last time we saw Raleigh, he threw 5 shutout innings. I don't know if I can take it, folks. I really don't know if I can take it. He will come on in the 9th inning and faced Ted Savage. By the way, we didn't bring in a... Tony Perez is playing third base. Forgot to mention that. Yeah. So we had Vukovic as the third baseman for Perez. So now Perez is in the field. Defense has not been rolled in the interim. So Perez is at third, and Carbo is the DH with Savage at left field. Here is Ted Savage. He had a walk the last time up. Fingers, by the way, you look at his card, he's a little bit better against lefties than righties. On the Cincinnati bench, you have Ken Suarez and Jim Stewart. You would only bring in Stewart if the righty was really tough against righties, and I don't think Fingers is. And Suarez doesn't hit righties. So we're going to keep Ted Savage in the game here. In a 2-2 tie in the bottom of the 9th, Ted Savage against Raleigh Fingers. Here's the pitch. 5-10 off of Fingers' catcher's card. Now here is the star-crossed Jim French, who's made 1, 2, 3, 4 errors that I can remember in this series, maybe more than that. He's a 3E12 catcher. And another error! You have to be kidding me. I know it's a bad E rating, but I've never seen a catcher give up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 errors in a World Series before. Jim French, an error to Ted Savage, and here come the A's. The Reds and the A's have blown the last 3 games and now maybe the last 4 games. The team who is winning doesn't win these games. Don't be leading, folks. The Reds found that the hard way in games 4 and 5, and the A's are finding that out in game 6 and maybe in game 7. Don't get a lead. It's a terrible thing to have happen. So Savage is on at first, and you got Concepcion. I have an idea. Maybe I don't have an idea. No, we're going to save that idea for Helms. Concepcion will just swing away here against Raleigh Fingers, with Savage being held on at first base. The pitch to Dave Concepcion. 48 off of Fingers is a walk. Oh boy, folks. Oh boy. First and second, nobody out, and it's Tommy Helms. Ooh. With Bernie Carbo up next, and Bobby Tolan, and Pete Rose and Perez bench, and you got the rest. Absolutely, positively cannot hit no double play. Let me consider that option. I'm almost thinking I'm going to bunt. Even if it's a bad bunt, it isn't the worst thing in the world. And it just gets me to Carbo and Tolan and Rose and Perez. So that is what Tommy Helms will do as the weakest of the next bazillion hitters the Reds have coming up, with first and second and nobody out in the bottom of the ninth. Helms will bunt. He's a B bunter. We did not bunt with Rose in the eighth, and it cost the Reds. They did not score. We bunted with Rudy here. It was a bad bunt, and it cost Oakland. We're going to try it here. We're going to do a bunt with first and second and nobody out with Tommy Helms. Do not roll a 12. I think it's a double or triple play. I can't remember. Anyway, don't roll a 12. Where's the bunt result? It'll be right there. Here's the bunt for Tommy Helms. It's an 8. That's a good bunt. Now you got second and third with one out. You got to bring the infield up. And now let's take a look at Bernie Carbo and then Bobby Tolan. And do you even think about walking him or taking fingers out and bringing in Kenny Holtzman? When I see a card like Carbo, I think I'll probably walk him anyway. Why make it intentional? You know? And a lefty is going to walk him as well. And then you got Bobby Tolan, who kills lefties. So that kind of eliminates Kenny Holtzman, who's not as good as Vida Blue, the pitcher who started this inning. Raleigh Fingers is allegedly Oakland's closer, and he threw 5 shutout innings his last time out, and this is Raleigh Fingers' World Series to lose, unfortunately for him, as he came in a tie game with nobody on base. So it's second and third with one out. The infield is coming up for Bernie Carbo. This stadium in Cincinnati is going nuts. They have been close before. Well, they have been to World Series before, and they have not won one. This is a chance for the Cincinnati Reds to finally win a World Series. Second and third, one out, the infield up, the pitch to Bernie Carbo. 2-12, base hit! Look at the Carbo card! Second A+, infield up, Bernie Carbo wins the World Series for the Cincinnati Reds, 3-2. And I'll call it the greatest World Series I've ever played. My goodness, folks. The Oakland A dynasty is going to have to wait, folks. The Cincinnati Reds, they get that win. They get that World Series win before the Joe Morgan era begins. They get it with the 70-73 cast. And speaking of that, what a big player Tommy Helms was, who was not a part of the 75 and 76 Red team. He gets a ring. They get a ring before Foster arrives. They get a ring before Griffey arrives. The Reds get the rings before they get that 75 championship. And the Oakland A's, again, Vida Blue pulled in the 9th inning. And you could question that result, but you have Raleigh Fingers. Do I need to read back the ERAs, folks? Vida Blue had a 1.82 ERA, and Raleigh Fingers had a 1.92 ERA. So I don't feel like splitting hairs between the Vida Blue Raleigh Fingers decision. And the Cincinnati Reds come back and win the World Series in 7 games. Let's do the box here. What a remarkable bunch of games this has been. I cannot recall 7 games like this before. Gary Nolan, I forgot to mention, throws another complete game. Was sitting in the dugout, as a losing pitcher to that point, crossing his fingers and toes, hoping his team could rally. The line for Nolan, 8 hits, the 2 runs in the 3rd inning. And then all those times we thought, oh, we should pull Nolan. Oh, we should pull Nolan. We stick with Gary Nolan. I'm going to make him your World Series MVP because he won 2 of the 4 red wins, and both were complete games. Vida Blue also won 2 of the 2 Oakland games, but not this one. So Nolan's edging out Vida Blue for Series MVP. I can't give it to any of the Reds hitters because they had so much misery early in the series. We'll do a composite box when we're all done and look at the total stats. But I'm giving Gary Nolan the Series MVP, even though we don't have enough information to really do that. 3 walks and 5 strikeouts, complete game. Riley Fingers comes into the 9th inning. It was a tie game. He is the Oakland closer, and he botches it. Wasn't helped by his catcher making an error. He gives up a hit, a walk, and an error, and that is a loss. Unearned run. Vita Blue's line. Remember this about Blue as well. He did give up 4 runs to the Reds on 2 occasions, and in the one game, it was Bernie Carbo in Game 1 who got thrown out at the plate. Bernie Carbo got thrown out of the plate in Game 1 in the bottom of the 9th inning, and it is Bernie Carbo who gets redemption in Game 7. 6 hits, 2 runs charged to Blue, both were earned. Did walk 6 men and struck out 5. 1-0-09, 0-1-0-8 and a third because there was 1 out in the bottom of the 9th. 3-6-2-8. 3-5, 7-5, 7-5, 3-5. The A's put 11 men on base. The Reds put 13 men on base. They got all these walks. And really, it just was this impression that Blue was failing here. He got a huge break in this 8th inning when Rose didn't bunt. And he got through that mess. But he may. Oh my goodness. 1-0-9, 0-1-0-8 in the third. 3-6-2-8, 3-6-2-8. 3-5. 7-5, 7-5, 3-5. We will have a composite box at the end of this video after a brief little break here. And we'll get to that in a moment. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you after the break. Welcome back, baseball fans, to this quick little wrap at the end of this video. We're just going to go plug into the postseason tournament results here. The Reds win the series 4-3, finishing 35-15. Oakland finishes 34-21. And we got a composite box for both squads for that World Series matchup. Here we go. We're going to start with Oakland, and here it is. 2.56 and a 3.15 ERA in the 7 games. And I'm going to start, I usually start with hitting, but I'm going to start with pitching because I find this absolutely remarkable. We have talked longly about how Oakland's bullpen was garbage this year. I want to show you that the Oakland bullpen is presented here as Bob Locker, Ron Taylor, Rick Austin, and Riley Fingers. This is the order they are used generally, the 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th pitcher, meaning the closer's Fingers. They won a game. They lost 2 games. Their composite ERA, losing 2 games, is 0, 0, 0, 0. The 4 Oakland relief pitchers pitched 16 innings. That's 5, 5, 5, and a third is 16. And they did not give up an earned run. I've never seen anything like this before. Never saw anything like this before. Locker was only used once, and this is what he did. Or twice. He pitched in 2 games. He only pitched in 1 game. Austin gave up 7 hits in his 2 1/3 innings, but he can thank the errors for not allowing these runs to score. And of course, Fingers, that walk-off was unearned. Holtzman was brilliant in 8 2/3 innings as well. Just 1 earned run. Look at the disparity of 24 runs, 10 unearned runs in the World Series. Just horrible Oakland defense. And Vita Blue, of course, he was the workhorse, was on the verge. He was pitching in the 9th inning, about to be the World Series MVP, going 3-0 in 27 innings. Didn't get that far. Was pulled. Only went 26 innings. When you look at the numbers, they're kind of ordinary, as you would expect. 346 and a .131 whip. So, no excuses for pulling him. Catfish Hunter in his 2 starts didn't do a lot. 5.40 ERA. Cal Kuntz, of course, number 4 starter, got blown out. 3.15 overall. The Reds was a little bit better. .256 batting average. The Reds was a little bit better. They won the series. Net runs, Oakland, 26 runs scored, 34 given up. So it's a -8. The performances, of course, Gene Tenace. Magnificent series, but notice something here. He did not hit a home run. Notice something else about these A's. Only a couple times did they leave the park. Reggie did it once, and Angel Manuel did it once. And this was early in the series when this happened. Campaneris had 4 stolen bases off of Johnny Bench. Look at Hegan had a nice performance. John Donaldson forced into action because of the Bando injuries. Bando still hit .217 with no home runs here. Jim French, his card hits .211. And Jim French hit .211. Reggie, 156 disaster. But he won a game in the middle of the series when he went first to third on a single and scored in the bottom of the 17th inning. Not much else of merit for this team. Joshua was fine, but Gene Tenace really carried this team, but he also no home runs. And that bullpen is insane. So with that, let's go now take a look at Cincinnati and their box. It's going to be a little bit better, as you would expect. And when we do that, you see they hit .263, and the team ERA was .284, with 34 runs scored and 26 given up. Only 4 unearned runs. Let's start with hitting, though. At the very top, Bernie Carbo just didn't get to pitch a lot, or hit a lot, because of the lefties, because Vida Blue had 3 starts and Holtzman had a start. But he did the most with those 15 at-bats, 7 for 15. Of course, he had a big World Series with the Red Sox, remember. He stole a base. He had a homer. He had a couple doubles. Got thrown out the plate once. But Lee May really could have been your series MVP. .464 with 13 hits to lead all players. 2 home runs and just 5 RBI. Kind of gets offset by Mr. Helms and Bench. How about Tommy Helms? 11 hits, second on the club. .367 batting average. So rewarding for this Reds team to win a World Series with Tommy Helms playing second base with a 1-E10 defense at second base. That's fantastic. Johnny Bench was just okay today. He had the big 3 home runs and he had the 11 RBIs. Needed all that. Reds needed all of that, but otherwise he only hit .250. Pete Rose drew 6 walks, so he was getting on base in the 7 games, but just hit .250. Tony Perez had 2 home runs, just 3 RBI. And Concepcion and Tolan, it was definitely a series of pitching beating the hitting. And when we go to the pitching, the Reds got all their wins from 2 guys. Granger came on in relief in the games that they beat Catfish Hunter. And that would be in the games that Dick Bosman started. So Dick Bosman, here he is, got the no decisions and a .338 ERA. He did okay, but Granger got the vulture wins by not allowing an earned run. Bourbon, 7 1/3 innings, just 1 unearned run. He also was 0. Gullett's 2 starts was fine, .270 ERA, 120. But right in between here, I got to give my World Series MVP, I'm going to stick with it, to Gary Nolan. 2 complete game wins with a 150 ERA and a 111 whip when his team had to have it. And mostly because all of these hitters sort of cancel each other out. You know, Lee May is great, but Helms was great. Bench had his moments. Carbo, of course, didn't play enough. He had his moments. But Gary Nolan had to throw 2 complete games, or who knows what would have happened, because the rest of the bullpen of Cincinnati, Clay Carroll, 623, Jim Strickland, 1350, Ross Grimsley got bombed in his start. So Gary Nolan does win the series MVP. That's going to be a wrap for the World Series. We will follow this up with end of the year wraps for the Reds and A's, as well as a 1970 card reconciliation. Thanks for checking this out, folks. It's been a wild marathon. I'm glad to have done this. The longest season by games played I've had that I can remember, 657 games. The longest World Series I've had. Pretty close to matching up the same teams in the same era as well. So there's all of that wonderful season it's been. Thanks for checking this out, and I'll see you next time.